Josh, and a survey where they probably didn't ask some headliners panellists.
The UK is among countries with the most positive attitude towards refugees, poll finds. So this is 22,000 adults across 29 countries. Found British people had the third most enthusiastic outlook, just behind Spain and New Zealand. It's ironic that New Zealand is has such a positive attitude towards migrants, is because it's so hard to get there, number one. And number two is, and my aunt and uncle tried to move there recently and it's like they make it so difficult. You have to have like loads of money, you have to be able to take care of yourself, all this. So this idea that I'm sure they're pro the idea of it, but the reality of it is it seems very much remains a closed society. Anyway, let's talk about Britain. And 56% of Britons believe that refugees make a positive contribution compared to 45% internationally. There's lots of these kind of statistics that more than half of Britons think that refugees should be allowed to stay. And I talked about this the other day, but I think that what is interesting here is how some people, what they think of when they think of migrants. And I think some people think of Afghani women who were being subjected to the misogyny of the Taliban government, not being able to be educated and go to girls' school, and also Afghanis who helped British people when we were over there and whatnot. And some people think of Albanian 20-year-olds coming over and getting up to, criminal activity. So the truth is, of course, there's bits of both. And I think that some of this, the wording of this, seems to focus more on the latter. Like when it's talking about people in need, I think, yes, people do. We're a fair society. That's what arguably makes us British, that we should help out and whatnot. And certainly when you're seeing, I think it's 100 million people get migrants, or is that 100 million internationally displaced people for the last time. So it's growing, and it's only going to grow with more environmental disasters and whatnot. I think Britain feels like, yes, we should take our fair share, but I think we need to have control over who those people are that we let in.
Paul, do you think this survey chimes with what we read in the press a lot?
Well, it depends what press you read. I mean, this must irk, I think, The Guardian slightly, because this is now two polls in the space of 2 months that is basically suggesting that us Brits are a pretty flexible, amenable, welcoming people, which I think most of us believe anyway. I know that there's different ends of the spectrum, and you get to see the worst of each reported, because that's what makes the news. But they've definitely gone and framed this in a way that brings it back to being a Guardian article. Because, for instance, they say, despite increased hospitality, far from it, hostility for the UK government.
Barges.
So I don't see. I want to stick up for the Tories slightly here, I'm afraid, because I don't think the government are necessarily hostile about the people. They're hostile about the problem, and it's getting to a point now where the only way they can win votes is to prove that they can stop this problem. Whoever gets into power is going to have to stop this problem one way or the other, and it's not because I don't think it's a personal issue. I think it's a group issue, and our resources can't sustain it.
On to the